All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jason Rodriguez. Welcome to Build Series live in NYC. Make some noise. All right, so we have Rap Royalty in the building, Rough Riders, D-Block, Bad Boy Legacy, YO's Finest, So Raspy. I think that's the most important one. Everybody give it up to Jadakiss.
Yo, what's up, y'all?
What's going on, my brother, man? So I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. You got the new album, Ignatius, about to drop. I had a chance to listen to it in the studio with you, and it's this project. Obviously, it's dedicated to Icepick Jay, which we'll get into that. But you do a nice job of having this balance of making a project that has this depth and growth, and you let us in a way that you haven't in the past. I think in the past, lyrical excellence. And, that demanded and provided like a certain focus. But now with this project, it's kind of a more well-rounded look into you. So excited to have this conversation. For those who don't know, could you give us an idea to set the table of, beyond just the tribute, why'd you name the project after Icepick Jay?
I named it Ignatius after Icepick Jay because I just wanted it to be in his name. I wanted it to commemorate his legacy. And not only naming it after him, I wanted everything to be like things that he wanted, production. I wanted it to be a project that he could be proud of. You know what I mean?
Word. And for people who don't know Icepick Jay, he was a jeweler, hence his name. At first, I remember people saying, like, yo, Icepick Jay is looking for you. And I thought I was about to get Debo out of some stuff.
Thought it was a real ice pick, huh?
Yeah, but, really sharp brother, super smart, wicked sense of humor, just a good, down-to-earth guy. Unfortunately passed due to cancer 2017. And with this project, like you said, it's this idea. You pay tribute to him, but there's also some creative direction that's kind of based on the idea of what he liked to see from you.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he always was on me about doing different things musically, whether it be using my voice to, sing and not just rap, be a little melodic on the hook, post-production, having dudes come in and play the strings and the bass and drums and beef up the song and, just make it real musical. The features, working with Pusha, John Legend, Ty Dolla $ign, Dej Loaf. Just his whole aura and energy was there, in each session, from the beginning all the way up to the post-production, all the way up to, mixing and mastering. His energy was always, present with the whole project.
I think what I like about the project in particular, like a lot of people are pointing out the hunting season and Icepick Jay wanting you and push it again on a record, but keep it 100. I think that's another good idea because that's one where you're using your voice in a different capacity. Yeah. I think people are gonna have to listen a couple times to realize like that's you on the chorus.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, that you gotta listen to it a couple times to even know it's me on the chorus. But yeah, like I said,
it's not that raspy.
Yeah,
you're carrying a tune on this hook.
I'm smoothed out a little bit, but yeah, even every song has a double meaning. Even down to that song, "Keep It 100 with Me" is like I had so many last questions and things to discuss with him, and I didn't get that chance to, and I felt he didn't keep it 100 with me because he didn't want me to know he had colon cancer. So that song has a double meaning. Like, I'm talking about some incidents in my life and some things that happened with one of my ex-partners. But I'm also talking to him like, you should have told me. You know what I mean? You should have kept it 100 with me. So, yeah.
So this project, I want to keep referring to it because I think it's a complete body of work that shows off you in a way that, again, you kept us arm's length.
Different light.
But I think that was sort of the MO at the time, right? Like you were an MC, it's about spitting bars. When you were younger, it wasn't this idea of this life you had to lead. And so, you know, when we were in the studio, you made this comment that, you know, you had to put some time into your life to live it before you could do an album, you know. And when I think about it, it's like, you know, you're filling your pen up with ink by going through those years. And, you know, with the Icepick and his passing, you know, you made this comment that you spoke every day to
Yeah.
give you an idea, like, this is business relationship, but this is your man.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you found out he had cancer, you were one of the last to know.
Yeah.
And you made that comment to me in the studio that you know you're still trying to grip your mind around that. And obviously, Keep It 100 closure is an attempt to kind of talk about that, where it's this thing that he was trying to prevent some pain to you, but it kind of inflicted something different. It's a very Charlemagne question to be like, you know, did you seek out therapy? But I know in this record and kind of this interview round, you're talking a lot about it too.
The album is the therapy for me. You know what I mean? Completing this project, the cover art, that's an actual painting. Just finishing this body of work is the therapy for me, I would say. You know what I mean? And that was the overall gist of making it. That's why I made it, because like you said, I was one of the last people to find out he was fighting with it. And from speaking to him every day before that 12, 13 years, every morning we on the phone to not knowing where he was at or what was going on with him. So, you know, that didn't sit well with me when I did find it. It still bothered me. So I think instead of going to seek some help or sit down with somebody on the chase and let your feelings out, I just did it in the studio.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I like the you know, and I encourage you watch. This is a good interview, but watch every interview he's doing, because I feel like with each conversation you're getting lighter and lighter. You know, when we first talked about the project, you know, you felt like you were carrying a lot of stuff. Each conversation you're having,
Yeah, you can see
it feels like it's getting lighter and lighter and lighter
the load,
on your shoulders. Yeah. Talk a little bit about Pearly Gates. I feel, again, you were away for a while as far as a solo project, and I feel like that was a good, you know, good shot of like, this is what I stand for, to set off the album.
Yeah, Pearly Gates. It's the intro, and it's just me. It's like the opening ceremony when you go to church or when you go to mass, or you know what I mean, and just giving you a brief synopsis of what's going on with me in my life, and summing it up about him. And then I ended with a prayer, because that's just, you know, that's just was the gist of the album, to be in his light. You know, and I didn't want to make it too dark. But with the intro, I had to set it off like that. You know what I mean? And that, for a while, that was my favorite. And still, I ain't hear it in a minute, but that's very strong. I need it. I was very happy with that intro. I think he would have liked, you know, the texture of it.
Texture is interesting too. Aside from like Keep It 100, carrying some vocals, there's a lot of live instrumentation on some of the production.
Yeah.
The texture and the palette of what you're rhyming over feels a little bit different. Need Your Best is kind of like a blatant example of that. But throughout the album, there's a lot of different textures that kind of feel like new runway for you.
Yeah and no. I just wanted this album to feel different than any of my other albums. You know what I mean? And no matter what the title or what the content of the album would have been, you got to show growth. You got to show evolution. You can't just keep talking about the same things. Or even if you do, you got to find a unique way to slip it to your fans a way you never did before. So you hear that on there, the growth and the evolution, but it's still, I wanted it to be in the grownness of it is, because he was older than me. He was my big brother. Like, he was my homie and partner, but he's a couple years older. Right. So he used to school me to a lot of down there going to get tapered up for a suit, or what kind of suit they get depending on the, you know what I mean? You got to get the seersucker B or not. You know what I mean? He was always on me. So that was important for me to make this, to show that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you see, need your breath. Need your breath is like some brown liquor sipping.
Yeah.
We on a boat, maybe.
Yeah.
Tom Joyner's hosting it. You know what I mean? What about me? Me's interesting because it feels like the intro again, an update on where you're at in life, and so me is kind of I feel like adding perspective of like Kiss now.
Yeah, when I got the beat from Brian Michael Cox, shout out to him. It had me all over it. Not meaning the me, the me in the sample, but the beat just gravitated to me, and it felt like when I called him and got, because he made it live on Instagram. He used to make a beat a week on his Instagram story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Would make the beat right there from scratch. That was like some marketing tool, I guess he just was doing. But I happened to catch him making me live, and I called my man in Atlanta and asked to see if he could hit him and get the beat. So when I got it, the whole moment felt like one of the mornings when I get a beat from somewhere else and call Pick and send them the beat, or come up to the crib and play the beat for him and have a verse that I already had in my head and say it, and then get the formula of the song right there. So it felt like when I called my man and got the beat from Brian Michael Cox, that was one of them joints that I would call Pick. Yo, you gotta hear this. We gonna throw this on the album. So without him being there, it's still like I did that same process, and that and then actual words of it is just me giving you in 3 verses a summary of a 20-something year career of mine. You know what I mean? For most people to know, they know, but for the youngsters or new people just finding out about Jadakiss, you can listen to that song and learn so much in just 3 verses, you know what I mean, about all of my journey. Or most of it, anyway.
Right. Yeah. Now I like the album because it's structured in a way. I mean, it's a very clear like beginning, middle, and end, and with different intentions of what you're trying to do in each section. Like the beginning, welcome back, going right into hunting season. Me, keep it 100, kind of this idea of like this nowness of where you're at and what you represent. Then it gets to the end, and traditionally rap albums kind of have the like I've made it kind of records at the end. Also tap into like heavy emotions. And this one you have I Know and Closure to wrap it up. I know in the studio you joked I Know is your Grammy record because there's a lot of elements that would tap into this idea of like what a Grammy record is, from John Legend on the hook, big sweeping production. But for me, I feel like a Grammy would be awesome, but just this acknowledgement for your fans to kind of see this record, and this like to me that's the most growth. You're going deep with people, but obviously your family.
Grammys, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. But
there's something bigger
overall,
than validation for that record.
Yeah, this project is bigger than a Grammy. You know what I mean? Was my therapeutic way of getting over losing my friend. So it's bigger than a Grammy. It's bigger than sales. It's bigger than, you know what I mean? For the most part, I wanted people that knew of him, to receive it a certain way. And I think the finished product did its due diligence, just that. You know what I mean?
Sure. I wanted to take it wider a bit away from the album, but as a pivot from the album, Closure, obviously, you shout out some of the fallen soldiers in hip hop. Obviously, Kobe Bryant gets a shout out too, but like Juice WRLD, Nipsey, etc. Just from your perspective, you came up at a time, you were putting Yonkers on the map, moving a certain way. Obviously, that's changed now. On the record, you talk about your kids, and interviews, you talk about your son and his drip that he has. Your daughter just got a red bottoms. So we've seen this evolution of your life. So you see a lot of younger acts, and you move that way at a certain time. What's sort of your take on just what's happening in the culture, whether it's drug-induced deaths or violence? How is that just affecting you watching it as somebody who is a part of that community? But any thoughts on kind of feeling like, why does this keep happening?
I think it's a lot of elements to what's going on with the state of the culture right now, and the drug-induced deaths, or the heinous violence or whatever. got a lot to do with your upbringing. It got a lot to do with the entourage. You know, you always hear your grandmother or your mother or one of your aunts say, "You show me your company, I'll show you you."
Right,
You know what I mean? So when you come into this game as a kid, a youngster with a whole bunch of money and fame and you're lit, it's things that come with that. And on the same token, you're a kid though, so what do kids do? They make mistakes. You have fun. You're irresponsible. That's part of it. It ain't nobody comes up and does everything right. They never late. They never fail the test. They ain't gonna go like that. But you just gotta hope on your journey that you protected by God. You got some good people with you. Hopefully, you had a good parent or two, and you know what I mean? You taking this thing serious and moving accordingly. Because it always sucks when something bad happens, but something bad always has to happen to keep the balance of
the universe.
Yeah. So, you know.
I don't want to make everything too heavy and too dark, but I appreciate you going deep with me.
We can talk all day, baby.
But,
I feel like Donahue.
This feels like word on the street. No, I wanted to ask you, 5th year anniversary of Top 5 DOA. I feel like the Top 5 categories always change for people. New artists get introduced, different perspective on different catalogs and looking. You know, for you, I guess I'll go with the easier one. Historically, Top 5, still the same these days? Different feeling about who's your top 5 greatest of all time?
Mine's really don't change much, but then it does. It goes off how you feeling. You know what I mean, at the time.
Yeah. So what we got?
But it's always going to be, for me, Nas, Big, no particular order, but
right.
Big, Nas, Jay, my partner Styles. And then 5th always switches up, either X, Eminem, Pac, somebody like that.
So it's easy to go to a run of 10 or 15 when you start thinking.
Yeah, because the easiest way to start, that argument is an ongoing argument depending on how old you are, where you grew up, you know what I mean, what your older brother put you on to, what your mother was listening to, cleaning up all of that plays a part into it. So everybody in the audience probably have a whole different answer if you know what I mean, if you ask them that. But it ain't, you know. It's like a religious argument, so you can't really get caught up in it.
That's a good
The blessing is to be on the list. If you can even make the list, is a blessing.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of artists don't feel that way at the time, but that's really it's what it means to be like Grammy nominated. That still means something if you're not.
Even if you don't win,
exactly. What about young acts? Any young acts that you're checking for that either kind of remind you of the way you were moving, or just young acts from a distance that you appreciate?
I like the Griselda gang. You know what I mean? I think they
remind me a lot.
They remind me of us a lot. The way their delivery, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves. I love that they channeled their own style and movement. They didn't ride the wave of the sound of today. They didn't just go for what's going on. You know what I mean? And they broke through with that. I appreciate that.
Speaking of locks, I know you guys have couple. I know there's a locks project coming next after this. I definitely want to give this project its full life to breathe and make sure you listen to it as well.
Touch on it a little bit. We got a new locks album on the way after we finish working Ignatius. Even while I'm still working that, we actually about to shoot the first single a couple of days, either next week or something. And we got a locks documentary that's gonna be real serious, heavy on. You know, a tearjerker, make you smile. It's going to show you a bunch of elements and sides of the locks that you never seen. So I think it's going to be real good.
Yeah. What's the locks point of view now today compared to 20 years ago? I asked that
it's
now.
Loyalty and love.
20 years ago, you know what I mean? You can.
Loyalty and love. Yeah. Just sticking together through good times, bad times, never letting this industry intertwine in what we built as brothers from grade school up into grown men and fathers, and keep working.
Yeah, And knowing the business.
Knowing,
I was thinking about that.
knowing and learning the
At this point now,
business.
you guys have signed a lot of different contracts.
Yeah, and still learning though.
Yeah.
With this business, there's always room to grow and learn it because there's always some new stuff happening. Like they didn't imagine that in 2020 the whole thing would be digital. You know what I mean? When I first came in, it was from vinyl and reels, tapes, CDs, to hard drives. To who knows what's next after this. So you know, you always room to learn.
Yeah, so we're going to go into audience questions in a moment, but I just want to have a quick appreciation. Next year's going to be the 20th anniversary of your debut album.
Kiss the Game Goodbye.
And, I just want to have a quick acknowledgement of that time and what it was like, and just sort of that excitement and waiting for that arrival for that project. Used to plan a solo track on each Rough Rider compilation project. Mixtape appearances, just that build up to the hysteria to that debut album. And I just want to kind of just like set the tone for that feeling, 'cause that's what it was like when that album came out, and then that release of that debut album. Next year is going to be 20 years. I'm sure you have something incredible planned in the works, but could you just take us back to that moment of like, the hunger of you trying to prove yourself and, the mark you were trying to make at that time? And what you were trying to say.
The feeling is almost like knowing you got to have a fight at 3 o'clock after school. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going to happen. You expect to win and hope you win, but you don't know what's going to happen. But, that's sort of like how it feels. But back then it was just great. So much money to mess up. You know what I mean? The budgets was extremely big. I did it in Miami at one of Al Capone's old houses. Mick Jagger was across the street watering his lawn with the pink robe on. We just had fun making it, And it's so much different than today. It's so microwavable in a sense. You know what I mean? Back then you had to prepare the meal on the stovetop. You had to use the burners, the broiler. Now it's just
a couple buttons.
Yeah, now it's just microwave. So it's still cool though, because the money is still lucrative. I just don't like when some of the elements and some of the things get misconstrued and loosened up. But for the most part, it's evolving, and hip hop's a big Ferris wheel. Hardest part is staying on the Ferris wheel. You know what I mean? When I was going around, it might not be a cup of tea in fashion. Might not be a cup of tea, and sonically it might not be a cup of tea and a lot of things, but to stay on the wheel for when it gets back around to your cup of tea is the challenge.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that perspective. So let's go to the first question. Oh, Nav Josh, shout out to Hip Hop and More, Twitter question. So Nav Josh says here, who's one producer you haven't worked with yet that you'd like to work with? You work with a lot of classic producers. You have a hit list.
I rock with all of the OGs always. I think Metro Boomin, Hit Boy, some of them type of dudes.
Yeah. Who's one who you worked with in the past
too.
that you'd like to work with again?
Q-Tip.
Yeah, Q-Tip, that'd be good.
I want to get back in with Alchemist though. Me and Alchemist got a great chemistry.
Yeah. For sure. All right, so audience questions. We have 4 audience questions. Let's go to Chanel.
Hi, Jadakiss. How are
How you doing, Chanel? How you doing?
All right. I want to thank you for making music that always symbolizes the perfect clapback. And with that said, I want to ask you, just like that Ferris wheel that you just talked about, what keeps you from getting stuck on your past success and inspires you to keep giving us good music?
I would think what keeps me from getting stuck on my past success and inspires me to keep going is, one thing is I embrace the new stuff. You know what I mean? I think when you just put yourself in a bubble and don't give it a listen and just totally try to, do that to it, you turn it. They call you a hater. Then you alleviate your career from having legs because they don't want to deal with you or talk to you, and you the one who did that. They probably admired you and looked up to you, and you know what I mean? You could hurt yourself with that. And also by using my kids, you know what I mean? My sons and daughters and nephews and nieces and godkids, and the younger dudes in the hood, if you know what's going on and keep your ear to the street, you know how to navigate through. You don't necessarily have to do what they do, but if you know what's going on, it helps your navigation better.
Word up. Thank you, Chanel. That was an excellent question. We have Alicia. Is it Alicia?
Yes.
How you doing,
Alika,
Alicia?
I'm sorry.
Hi, Jay.
Alika, is that correct?
Yes.
Alika, here we go.
Alika. How
Hi.
you doing, Alika? I like that.
I'm good, and you? My question for you is, what inspires your lyrics?
My lyrics are inspired by many different things. It could be a movie, could be a book, could be a conversation, could be a feeling, could be a picture. Lyrics come in the most random places. In the shower, on the toilet, online, in the supermarket. The places you think are some of your greatest bars, it ain't the places you seem like you should have been thinking of them.
All this gun talk happened at the Whole Foods. Reggie, where you at, my brother?
Right here.
All right.
Peace,
up?
Kiss.
What's up, Reg? Peace.
Got a question for you. You consider yourself to be top 5 dead or alive, and many people consider you to be top 5 dead or alive. Who are the top 5 new artists in the game that you would actually personally like to work with?
Drake. I like Drake, I would say. J. Cole. Little Baby. Young Thug. Roddy Ricch. It's more all of them though, really. Whoever make good music that's willing to work. Hip hop is an art, you know what I mean, and it don't get treated with the same aspects as the other art forms. They break it down into little segments. They don't do that with no other genre of music. There's no such thing as down south, western, East Coast country. They only do that with rap. So we always have to be mindful that it's still an art form. And when you try different things, you come up with different things. You know what I mean? Just like cooking, trying something in the kitchen.
Right.
That's the same as creating.
Right. And you have some records with some young cats that didn't make the cut, right?
I got a lot of records.
Yeah, there's some records I think that
Yeah, I got some. Don't let them out the
tough.
bag
Yeah,
because I
don't
still
let
got to
them-
use them.
But some of the answers you're looking for, he has some of those records. They're definitely good. Let's wrap it up with DJ Belly.
Hey,
He was over there because that shirt.
Yes, sir.
There we
How you
go.
doing?
Marketing.
You've been in the game for a long time. So, what is your like one of your most achievements that you're proud of?
Buying my mom a house. Putting my son through college. Just being able to make other people happy or, helping somebody out.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's dope. I love watching the interaction between you and your son on Instagram.
Yeah.
A lot of drip if you haven't seen him. So, Kiss, man, I want to thank you, man. A new album, Ignatius, comes out March 6th. Check out all your DSPs. I'm sure you have some shows coming up.
Yeah, a bunch of shows. Check me out at Jadakiss on Instagram, at The Real Kiss on Twitter. And follow me. You're going to see, got a tour coming up soon. Bunch of spot dates. You know what I mean? Come check me out.
Word up.
It's love. It's love.
Lots of announcements coming in the future. So, Build Series, give it up for this brother, Jadakiss.